Okay, we are live. Hi everyone, we are back again with another weekly career class. And today our overseas expert is going to talk about a much awaited and one of the hot study abroad topic, which is scholarship. So I assume many of you already have questions prepared. If you have, make sure that you write in the chat box, which is open. We would be taking a couple of questions during the session and some questions towards the end of the session as well. So whatever questions comes to your mind related to scholarship, today is the day and we start now. So Parmita ma'am, over to you.
Thank you, Bushra. I think you have done once Insta Live on scholarship and financial aid. Today, I'll touch upon few basic questions: how to look for scholarships or financial aid. How can a student prepare himself or herself? What are the to do things that are there if you're really looking for some kind of a financial aid, right? I'll not go very much into details. I'll touch upon all the points, and I would really look forward to answering questions if you have. So with that, I'll present my screen. Bushra, let me know. You have to make me the host, I suppose. Yeah, let me know if you can see my screen. I kept it very short, just few pages, and maybe we can, take a lot when we, do the question answers or things like that. So this is another series of weekly career classes that we have on study abroad. Every third Saturday of every month, we come up with this weekly career class. And today we thought of doing on a popular topic, which is scholarships and financial aids, tuition grants, and all of that. So how do we know where, which is the right kind of aid for us, or, are we eligible for certain scholarship? If we are, how do we go about applying for the same? Right? So when we look at scholarship, it's basically, how do I fund my studies abroad? All right. Or how do I reduce my cost of attendance? So when it comes to scholarships, it can be partially covered when it comes to financial aid or scholarship. It could also be something which is 100% scholarship, right? So there are a variety of scholarships which gives you from, maybe 20% to about 100% of your cost of attendance can be taken care of. So we also need to understand what is our financial planning before we go ahead and look forward to the kind of financial aid or scholarship that we are looking at. All right. So I always tell my students that when you are looking for studying abroad, even the parents, if there are parents listening to me here, it is always good to discuss your finances with your kids, just to give them a brief as to this is your financial planning. A lot of times you would find, in the university website, basically they give scholarship on need base. If the household income is, under a certain bracket, or, then the student is eligible to apply for certain amount of financial aid, right? Scholarships basically merit, and I'll come to this in a while. So what I'm trying to tell you here is we are looking at the cost of attendance. When we look at cost of attendance, we say the tuition fees plus the cost of living, your books, house, board, all of that comes together. Some of the scholarships are so generous that they even sponsor your flight fares from India to that country and back maybe once a year or so, right? So there are a lot of ways, a lot of them are very, very competitive. At the same time, if you know how to search for scholarship well, there is a scholarship, I would say, for every one of you. All right. Or there is some kind of a financial aid that each one of you can get or can apply to, and you would be, getting that scholarship. So let's take a deeper look at it and how scholarship plays a very vital role in our study abroad journey. Also, the education that we will be taking ahead there, what kind of university we are looking at, what kind of a plan do we have for ourselves. So I'll be discussing a little into all of this. When we talk of financial aid, this is a very, very broad umbrella. So scholarships comes under financial aid, even grants comes under financial aid. We have something called brochure. Grants and brochures, these are basically, for the lower income group people, students, or if they're, they have financial constraints, they do apply for this. And we also have certain kind of ways and means through which your cost of attendance would reduce. These are basically the assistantships, the fellowships, and also we have something called as loans that most of the universities and most of the countries do offer. So we will try and find out the difference between all of this. I come across a lot of students who apply for our overseas orientation, where they click that I would look for 50% scholarship, or I would look for at least some amount of scholarship for me to be able to study abroad. And I am sure with a lot of parents also, they do think that yes, financial constraint can be there when we are looking for a overseas education for our kids or our work. So we need to understand here the financial aids or scholarship that we are talking about have certain terms and conditions. So one have to understand those terms and conditions very well before applying to those scholarships or aids. Scholarships and aids can be very different when we are looking at an undergrad kind of admission. This could be very different when we are looking at a graduate scholarship or a graduate fellowship. So in this entire bullet points that you can see, we can say that financial aid is a broader term used for all that is below. When we are talking specifically about assistantships or fellowships or even certain kind of scholarship, they are for undergrads and grad students. For undergrads, financial aids are generally more. Scholarships may tend to be slightly, on the lesser side, unless and until, you are meritorious. We will go into that. So all said and done, we will see a little details about all of this. For fellowship and assistantship, let me just give you a brief here, because I haven't touched upon these 2 points later. So a student who goes for a master's program abroad, right? Sometimes scholarship becomes very, very rare for those students because scholarships are very, very competitive. Though we have few very popular scholarship for US, we have scholarships like, or fellowships like, the Fulbright, INLACs. So there, some of them are very subject specific. But when we are looking at assistantships or fellowships, this can be a broader term for the financial aid a student can get while they are looking for doing their masters abroad, right? So this is the 20 hours of work that you will be doing on campus. Most of this work, students who are already a graduate and are going for the postgraduate programs can look for assistantships. What are these assistantships? There are 3 basic categories of this assistantship. Graduate assistantship, where a student can work in the administrative office. They can be the college admission as assistant, things like that. So the other is research assistantship, where a student can work in the research project in the lab. And the third one is a teaching assistantship, where you can work with your teacher, assist the teacher in taking care of the assignments, getting his the teacher's lab notes and all ready. All of them pay you really well. Some of them also gives you certain extra credits, so you might earn extra credit based on those assistantship that you're doing, right? Fellowships are mostly for doctoral students or postdoctoral students, which actually covers your entire cost of studying, leaving, and all of that. Some of the fellowships are generous to that extent that if you have spouse, kids, you can the scholarship amount will be able to maintain the cost of your dependents as well, right? So I'll not be dealing a lot with assistantship and fellowship, but we will be talking in details with the other the categories that we have, because these are something that almost everyone can apply, and therefore one has to be very mindful as to which is the right kind of scholarship that they can apply to. So we have seen a huge list there, financial aid, scholarships, loans, grants. So which is the right kind of financial aid for you? So let us look at the difference between few commonly used terms. What is a grant and what is a loan, right? So one is something which is debt free. The other, you would have to repay that to the university. US, for example, if we look at, loans are given to students in a very, very subsidized rate. When you look at India also, there are a lot of parents, even this year when we were doing visas for a lot of students, we had approached banks for education loan. And with salaried parents, a lot of you would be looking for a education loan. So one has to be very, very clear as to the terms and conditions of loan versus grant. Grant is basically given by the government. It is the federal aid you get. When we look at your US, you have grants given by them. The tuition grants are there. Singapore, Hong Kong, they have from the government, you have tuition grants available. So basically, this is the money provided by the government, and you need not pay it back. So it's debt-free money that you get. Many a times for this, your eligibility would be based on your financial need. So if you, many a times, even this grants that student get are based on their academic success, based on the type of course they would like to choose. All right, but it is definitely looked at merit. At the same time, they would look at your financial need. How much is your financial need? And that's how you would be applying for the grant, tuition grant. Many a times grant gives you quite a good amount of money. Even your bursary, staying cost, and all of that are covered by grant, and these are debt free. Whereas when we talk of loan, this is something that you're borrowing from the university or the bank, and you need to return it eventually, right? Grant is available to you till the time you are doing your studies, all right, and you get it. If you drop your studies, you don't get that, you don't get that grant. When it comes to loan, even if you drop the study, you will be indebted to pay the loan back. So you will have to be very careful as to what kind of loan you are borrowing, and from which body you're what kind of organization or which financial body you're taking the loan from. Any day you need to repay it back. There are two types of loans. One is called as a subsidized loan, and other is unsubsidized. In the subsidized loan, uh, the government or do take care of the interest part of it. It is basically given to undergrad student who come, and you will get this loan sanctioned to you while you're studying, based on how you're doing it. So if you drop your studies in between, even in that case, you will have to pay back your loans, right? Unsubsidized loans are those where you will have to repay your loan after your studies are complete. Along with it, you will have to bear the interest that the loan comes with, along with the term of the loan that you have taken, right? So all loans are not same. Loans vary from one another. So in Indian context, if I'm talking about, you might approach SBI for an education loan. Okay, they might ask for some kind of collaterals or some kind of paperwork. So there would be a lot of paperwork, and they would sanction you the bank loan with some interest, which you will be right now I think it's 8.6 or so. So you would have to give all those papers, and you would know that this is the interest rate that I would be paying. There are a lot of private banks who may not require collateral. They might sanction your education loan within just few days or few hours. But make sure that you know what kind of interest that such loan has. All right, what would be the tenure of repayment? So your parents can work this out. You can work it out. And as I told before, also it's very, very important for a student as well as the parents to understand what is their financial planning, what kind of money or resource do they have with themselves, and what is the extra that they are looking for. So once you know what is the extra amount that you're looking for, that's the time you actually can work hard towards what kind of a scholarship. Are you looking for scholarship? Are you looking for loan? Are you going to apply for grant? So, are you going to apply for some kind of financial aid, which can be need-based financial aid, or could be, a merit-based financial aid? So the first understanding is, how much of the planning you have and what extra do you need in terms of reducing your cost of attendance. Okay, any questions here from anyone? Shiv, I can see there is a button coming up. Do you have a question? You can feel free to ask. No? All right. So when we talk of scholarships, basically we are talking of merit scholarships. So most scholarships are merit based, and the scholarships, as the name suggests, you do not require to pay back your scholarship. There are a huge variety of scholarships available, but also make sure that even if you get a scholarship, there might be certain conditions that are associated with this scholarship. A lot of universities offer their scholarships to the students. Sometimes you need not even apply to scholarships separately. It comes automatically with your application. So if you're applying as an international student to one of the universities, there are few scholarships that are there with them. They would automatically make you eligible for that scholarship, and you would know that this is the scholarship that I got, right? So they would mention that you have been eligible for such and such scholarship. But for many other, you might have to take a step or two extra. There might be an interview that you need to take to get the scholarship. There might be an extra writing piece that you need to do. There might be certain questionnaires you need to fill. The in-law scholarship, for example, it has around 2 to 3 rounds of interview. Some may be just instantaneously automatic. Some might have more rounds of interviews. Some might have additional requirement like answering a questionnaire or writing an essay, or it could also be sending some portfolio or audition if you're looking for some specific scholarship in terms of performing arts and dance, drama, those kind of things. You need to send your audition videos. It could also be that you might have to ask for an interview. So I am interested in applying to such and such scholarship, and I would like if you can arrange an interview. So many a times the university will reach out to you. So that's how scholarships work. Again, in the amount of scholarship that you would be getting is varied. So your cost of attendance, it might just cover sometimes 20% to even up to 100%, right? It depends on which is the type of scholarship that you're aiming at. Is your profile such that you can be getting few scholarship? Like US have a very popular scholarship called Global Leader Scholarship. Very, very competitive, but yes, there is a scholarship where if you have shown your leadership skills, you can apply for it. There is a scholarship called You Are Welcome Here Scholarship. Around 55 universities in the US have introduced this scholarship where they give a scholarship amount of around 10,000 to 15,000 US dollars per year to a student. And it's called as You Are Welcome Here Scholarship. It's basically an international students scholarship. So there is another call as a Global Mindset Scholarship. So if you have been motivating people, if you have worked to change the mindset of a certain sector of the society that you stay or work with, right? So you can apply for such scholarships. Now, there are also university level scholarships. There are scholarships which are which are funded by private organizations, and they fund this directly to the university. So I would tell you some of the resources where you can go towards and go to those resources and check for them. In the meanwhile, let us see the wide variety or range of scholarships that you can look for while you are planning your study abroad journey. All right, so these are few categories that are there for scholarship. Definitely, one is need-based scholarship. There are a lot of universities, for example, Harvard, and if you are looking at Pomona, Amherst, so some of the top liberal arts colleges or even the Ivies, some of the universities are need blind. So if you are a meritorious student and the university has accepted your application, they would really not look at the fee structure that you have, or how much of money do you carry, right? So some of the universities are completely need blind. That means they would not really look at what is your financial planning. If you make it to their college, that means you get the scholarship. Some of them are need aware. So the universities where it is need aware, they would really look at your financial planning, or are you looking for some kind of financial aid. Some scholarships are need based. When I'm talking of need based scholarship, it is need versus merit. Okay, you should have the merit. At the same time, financially also you seem to have a greater need, then they would be providing, the university would be providing whatever the need you have, they would be covering it in terms of their scholarship, right? So be careful about the need aware universities. If you're applying to a need aware university, even if your profile is brilliant, and if there are two students applying for something which if the university is need aware in terms of the financial aid, two profile, both of them are same, but one has a higher financial need and the other doesn't. So in that case, your acceptances might be in question. So you might not be accepted by university which are need aware, and you do not have that kind of a financial planning made from before, right? There are a lot of government scholarships available, and there are scholarships from NGOs which are there. The Rotary scholarships is there. So I would definitely tell you, share with you few websites where you can look for scholarships. There are even student-specific scholarship. While I was browsing, you find certain sectors of students, from certain sectors of the society, they do get some scholarships. So last time I applied for one of the students. So if you are, there are learning disability scholarships. There are even scholarships given to some of the students from the LGBTQ community. So there can be student specific also. Few tribes in South Africa, some of them, they do get a certain scholarship for being belonging to a certain a sector of the society. Like in India we have, right, there are certain scholarships for certain categories. So you can look for that. There are also subject specific scholarship. There are scholarships for science and technology. There's a very wonderful scholarship called WISE in the State University of New York, which is Women in Science and Engineering, right? So if you are a female and you have done something brilliant in the field of science and technology, you can apply for such scholarship. There are scholarships for female child going for mechanical engineering. So these are subject specific scholarships. You can apply for those. There are college specific scholarships. So when you go to the university website or college website, you would find even in the university website. So, there might be certain scholarships which are university scholarship, like, Oxford University gives this scholarship, the Flex scholarship. Under Oxford University, if you have a different department, right, it could be a engineering college under that. But if I'm talking about New York University, the engineering college would have certain scholarship being given as a college. So one is a university scholarship like NYU, quite expensive to get in. But if you made it and you made it to that engineering department, there might be a chance that that particular department have got certain grant, or they got some donations from someone, and therefore they are giving out some college specific scholarships, right? So you can also aim at looking for those kind of scholarships. So if you are a little worried, so definitely I'll tell you, so I'll give you certain tips and tricks how to look for it. Otherwise, we are here. So if you're, if you really need to work on this, we can help you get a little more deeper, understanding of how do you choose this scholarships for you. Sports scholarships are there, talent-based scholarships are there. Sports scholarships, unless and until you are at least the Commonwealth level, you may not be able to get the full sports scholarship. But yes, there are a lot of universities where athletics and sports are given high regard. So you can also apply if you are good and you have certain merit. You can apply for sports-based scholarship also. right? So it's a huge plethora of scholarships that are there. One have to be very careful in understanding how to apply for the scholarship or which scholarship to choose from, and accordingly build your profile so that you can answer those questions that why do you think you deserve this scholarship. All right. So yeah, this as I promised you earlier, I would be giving you some resources to look for scholarships. There are a lot of online resources available. A few of the websites are given here. You can take a look. So for searching for scholarships, there are a lot of resources, but please be mindful. There is a word of caution here. Many a times you might come across websites which may not be legitimate, right? You might come across agents who would ask you money to apply for scholarship on your behalf. So that's a word of caution. You need to be there. You need not pay anyone to look for scholarship. Many a times you can do it yourself. You can go to the online resources. Some of the resources are there below. Big Future College Board, you can look for the scholarships there. Big Future has come up with a lot of scholarship schemes. They do mention, the university level scholarships, subject specific scholarships, student specific scholarship. You can search for the scholarships through this website called Big Future College Board and look for the scholarships. Similarly, you can look at Peterson's, right? College Navigator, again, it is a website where you can look for scholarships and all. We have something called Fast Web. In India, a lot of Indian as well as international scholarships are there listed in a website called Buddy for Study. So it's Buddy 4, number 4, study. So you can go to that. And also the best resource to find out which kind of scholarships are being offered is the university website themselves, right? So they would give you the type of scholarships that are there. So when you visit a university website, you can go to their, financial aid and cost. Many a times it will lead you to the different scholarships that they have, even what are the different departmental scholarship or school specific scholarship that they have. So you need to look into the scholarship, see that do you, fit into the eligibility criteria. What are the extra things that you need to do? So this is, I'm coming to the tips and trick for you. If you are searching for scholarship along with your college, right? It is a good idea to have a spreadsheet for yourself. Put it in a Excel, have a spreadsheet where you have, the entire details of the scholarship mentioned. Make sure that some of the scholarships, they have deadlines to apply, right? These deadlines may differ from the deadlines of the application, right? Some of the scholarships are such that you get into the university, you got in there, you were accepted, but you do not have the fund to support yourself. That would be a time that you can apply to few scholarships which will be giving you the tuitions or the scholarship not to pay for that college. There would be some scholarships or financial aid where you have to submit the application beforehand. If the application deadline is say 20th, the financial application deadline may be 1st of that month. All right. So you will have to make sure that those deadlines are something that you know when the application opens and when the application closes. So in that Excel sheet, write the name of the scholarship, details of the scholarship, which is the opening and the closing date of the scholarship. What are the documents that would be required in order to, make you eligible for that scholarship? List down those documents, keep those documents ready. If you're applying for financial aid, it could be for Indian students who apply to the US, there is a different financial application form called the CSS profile, right? So a lot of research have to be done there. Your parents might have to have their tax return files for 3 years or so. You might even have to go to a chartered accountant to find out, how would you manage your, finances, or do you have that kind of a money, or if you don't, how much would be the requirement. So all of this details you would be requiring. So keep it at a glance. So make this spreadsheet in such a way that all of these things are there. Is there an interview requirement for the scholarship? Is there an additional essay requirement for a scholarship? And as I told you, there can be certain questionnaires. University of Nottingham or King's College, they have different scholarship. One might offer you £4,000 to maybe, 8,000 pound. One scholarship might be just, it will cover 50% of your tuitions, right? So for that, there might be a different questionnaire. The questionnaire would seem very simple many a times, right? It's simple questions and you need to answer. But please be mindful, based on this answers, you would be either accepted for the scholarship or denied. So these are very, very specific writing. So when we are talking of a scholarship essay, it has to be based on facts and data. It has to be something that you're passionate about. It is something where you showcase that, yes, you are the one who deserve the scholarship and not anyone else, right? So make sure that, these tips and tricks are there with you. You go to the right resources to search for scholarship. Even at IDC, we have listed around 1,500 scholarship in our dashboard as well, but no, all of them are not for overseas. So for overseas, I have given you a few specific websites. You can also do a Google search, but please be mindful about, any agents or anyone who ask money for helping you out to get a scholarship. So if you do your research well, you need not do that. And if you need any advice, we are there, to advise you how to look for scholarships, right? We have also applied for scholarship for quite a few students. So if you want any help from us, we are there. And that was all I thought I would cover, not really extend my weekly career too long, half an hour and, maybe 10 minutes for question answers also, right? So open to questions.
We have a couple of questions in the chat. Students are asking. Some of them I really like. So one is, which are the countries that offer cost-free education to international students?
Cost-free education. So we have a few countries where tuitions are not really, charged. So the tuition fee, for example, Germany, most of their universities are public universities, and they don't have tuition fees for higher education. Higher education is free, but you need to understand, if it is free, it's going to be competitive as well, right? And there might not be areas where, you would be getting aid or something for your cost of living and stay. So if that is also something that you're looking for, there are certain scholarships available for Germany also. There's a DAAD scholarship, which is basically, it's a kind of exchange program, you can say. So if you know the language well, even your flight charges and, your stay and all are borne by the scholarship. But country-wise, yes, Germany, you can say, is one of the countries where, in the public universities, tuitions are not there.
Right. Okay, so the other question is, this girl is asking, I live in Muscat and completed my education here, and I wish to apply for a scholarship in USA. Will I be eligible for scholarships in Indian student category?
Oh, of course, not Indian. Why? You lived in Muscat, you live in India, you would be considered as an international student. So all the scholarships which are available to all international students will be available to you as well. Okay, and if you're applying to US, you can also apply for financial aid. So you can do that. Some of the scholarships comes automatically. If your merit is good, if your skill sets are good, if you have, if you're passionate about something and you build your profile in that area, a few scholarships will be automatically coming along with your acceptance from that university. For certain others, you might have to apply. And yes, you would be eligible to apply for, an international student scholarship, whether you are in India, Muscat, Nepal, whichever country, doesn't really matter.
Okay. Third question that we have is, what is an ideal profile for Erasmus Mundus scholarship program? Can IDC help me apply for this program?
We in fact did a Erasmus Mundus this year itself. So the criteria is you should do something. So for this girl, we were applying for economics and public policy and all of that. So Erasmus Mundus is in, these are programs where you have different track, and you will have to carry on your studies from different countries, right? You have to be a visionary. You have to have a profile where you can show that how would you be contributing towards that field of study. Yeah, little difficult, but doable. Competitive, but yes, it is a fun application where you study in various part of Europe. You can it's wonderful, and we have done Erasmus Mundus with a student. You can go ahead with it too.
Okay.
Okay, but a profile is something that you would really look at, the profile, your English scores, how do you write your essays and all, and how do you actually showcase why do you deserve this kind of a scholarship. Okay. Also, the scholarship will depend on, the acceptance will depend on which kind of track that you are using for the Erasmus Mundus. They have a lot of track that are there. In India, I think the part of Erasmus Mundus is there is in Mumbai. You can study for 6 semesters in Mumbai.
All right, that was quite informative. So this is a funny question. Is 100% scholarship grant is for real?
Oh yes, it is for real. It is for real. It's very, very competitive, but it is for real. So when you're talking of 100%, we basically call this as the full ride. So full ride scholarships are available, but very rare. It's very, very rare. Okay, so one maybe from for one student from a international student for that particular university once a year. So I don't know, that would be the kind of competitiveness that's there. I think you might have heard of this Pearson's scholarship that is there. Even that is like a full ride scholarship. It is offered by University of Toronto, and around 30 or 33 odd scholarships they give every year to and students apply from 170 countries.
Wow.
Okay, from 170 countries they would apply for this scholarship. India is proud because we send the maximum chunk of students for this scholarship. Sometimes around 20 or 10, around 16, 5, 6, around 16 also sometimes we do send. So huge population do go from India. But yes, these are very, very competitive scholarships.
Wow, that's amazing. Okay, so last question. How can I get my profile evaluated whether I'm eligible for a scholarship or not?
Okay, maybe we can help that. Help in that endeavor of yours. See, just to give you a simple answer to that question, ask few things yourself. Okay, if you are looking for a scholarship, now somebody is paying you for your higher education. All right, so definitely they would look at the potential that you have, right? If you're looking for a leadership role, have you displayed any leadership role? Have you made an impact to a small or a larger sector of the society? How much was that impact? And if we fund you, would you make a larger impact or would you make the society better? All said and done, scholarships would somehow boil down to both merit as well as your aspirations, future aspirations. Very simple example: if you go to in your school you might have this elections and all. For the head boy, head girl, there are sometimes nominations made by the teachers. And if you are not performing very well in the academics, you might be super smart, you might have a huge friend circle, yet you might not get that nomination if your academics fall a bit. Okay, so to deserve that scholarship, academics should be full on. Apart from that, your extracurriculars should be bang. All right, so if you are a mixture of both of this, you can definitely look for a Fulbright. We call them all-rounded student. If you're an all-rounded student, why not? We can you can definitely look at the Fulbright scholarships.
Then we can't hear you, ma'am.
Oh, really?
Yeah, now you are audible. Yes.
Okay, so what was it that last you heard?
No. That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah. So we have another question coming from Soumya.
Mhm.
Do we have any scholarships from France for France if you speak French for an English taught master's business degree?
So you're looking for a master's degree, then we would have to look at the university specific. But if you're too good at the language, there are, you need to, like we have the IELTS, if you clear the French proficiency test with a good level, you might get not even scholarship. There would be a lot of assistantship and fellowship that you would be getting. The name might not be scholarship as such. If you're good at the language, you can also look for fellowship there, which reduces your tuitions to a great extent. Yeah.
Okay, Minoti Shah is asking what is the cost to a student for the IDC overseas program?
This somebody from IDC, you might have to reach out to IDC. We have two different programs broadly because US tends to be slightly expensive. For the other countries, it is slightly less. It
So
also depends on the type of program that you're going to go for. Are you looking for the entire package? Are you looking for some, specific help? So please do reach out. There is this phone number here. All right. Reach out to Garima, reach out to the IDC team. And if you have any cost related inquiry, you can do. And Bushra, if you want to add, you can add here as well.
absolutely. So I would recommend Minoti over here is that you can simply book a free orientation session with us as well, where we can evaluate your profile, your requirements and everything. And basis of that, you can take up the services, ahead. So the best way is to visit our website, which is idreamcareer.com. Register there yourself, and our team will definitely get in touch with you. Yes, you
Minoti
have
is
our
a
number on
career
the screen.
counselor with us only.
Right. You have our numbers on the screen also. You can speak to one of our, IDC person as well.
So we do a lot of this overseas orientation, which are free sessions. So if you have very specific requirement or you want answers to specific queries, and you do have a strong inclination to build your profile and start off with the application for your ward for your students, do reach out to us.
Right. So I think it was an amazing session today, Parmita ma'am, and I hope our audiences also enjoyed it as much as I did. And we would be coming up again with the such more information in another weekly career class next month. And just keep us posted that what are the areas or what are the topics you want to cover, as well as if you have any suggestions you can write in the chat box. If you have any questions, just post it over here. We'll take your questions in the next weekly career class as well, right? So till the next weekly career class update, subscribe to our channel so that you get the notification. Till then, bye.
Thanks, Minoti. Thanks for being here. Yeah, I hope it was useful. Bye, Bushra. Have a lovely weekend, everyone.